Hello my dear students, welcome back to my new class. Today I am going to discuss about the nature of root of quadratic equation. In my last video I have tried to discuss that part, but I have discussed there the number system. Okay, actually we have to determine the nature of the roots. To determine nature of the roots, those concepts which I have given in my last video, that part was most important. I have discussed there so that you can understand much better in this video. Okay, so let's begin. For a quadratic equation, I have to discuss the nature of its roots without solve. Okay, so what is the formula? We will derive all those things from the formulas. Okay, so what is the formulas for quadratic equation? Just remind to you, I am writing here again. If a quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a not equals to 0 is very important, where a not equals to 0, this is general form of a quadratic equation, and the solution was x equals to minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. Okay, this is the solution. So without solve a quadratic equation, we have to determine the nature of roots. Okay, 4 type of natures we have to check. I told you in my last video that roots are equal or distinct, roots are rational or irrational, or roots are real or imaginary. Is that clear to you? So to all these things, I told you, if you solve a quadratic equation, then after solving, the solutions are called root. I told you this information. So after solve a quadratic equation, you can say about the nature, but we are going to discuss, is there any process to determine the nature of the root without solve a quadratic equation? Yes, I am going to discuss that part. A process is there. So I am introducing that here x square plus bx plus c equals to 0 in this quadratic equation. A is not equals to 0 and a, b, c are real number. That is real constant. A can 2, 5, 7 like these numbers. Root 2, root 7, this type of numbers. Then x equals to minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. Okay, let me write which 4 kind of nature we are going to check. We are going to check the first one, roots are equal. Whether roots are equal. Second one, roots are imaginary. Third one, roots are real or not. If roots are real, then which kind of if roots are real, then the real roots are rational or irrational. Rational or irrational. We have to check all these things. Roots are equal or not. Roots are imaginary. Roots are real. If roots are real, then which type of real? Is that number is rational, or is that number roots are rational, or are roots are irrational? Is it clear? These 4 kind of characteristic or nature we are going to check for a quadratic equation. Okay, without solving. By using formula, I am putting the solution here. X equals to 2 roots are. I am writing here 2 roots. Actually, 1 root is x equals to minus b. For plus we will get 1 roots, and for minus we will get another roots. So 1 root will be x equals to minus b plus root over b square minus 4ac. This is 1 root by 2a. This is 1 root and another root will be x equals to minus b minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. Okay. Now, what is the basic difference between these two roots? Here 2a same, minus b same. Only the difference between these two root is actually among these two root only b square minus 4ac, that means this second term. See, here minus b same, 2a same, so only affected term will be this one, this term. Okay, this part only will affect b square minus 4ac. I am going to discuss first the condition for equal roots. Okay, only the effective term here is root over b square minus 4ac. If anyhow, if b square minus 4ac equals to 0, suppose this term is 0, then what will happen? If this term 0, then minus b plus 0 by 2a, that means it will becomes what? Minus b by 2a, and minus b minus 0, that means minus b by 2a. So we get a condition from here that if root over b square minus 4ac, this value 0, okay, then roots will be minus b plus 0 by 2a and minus b minus 0 by 2a. That means it will be changes to minus b by 2a, and it is also minus b by 2a. So in this case we get two roots are equal. The first one will be minus b by 2a and second one will be also minus b by 2a. So this is the condition that if root over b square minus 4ac equals to 0, then we will get the equal roots. Is it clear to you? So this is nothing but b square minus 4ac equals to 0. This is nothing but by squaring both sides we can reduce the condition that b square minus 4ac equals to 0. Okay, so this is the condition for equal roots. Hope you understand the thing, that this is the condition for equal roots. Right. Okay. So a quadratic equation having equal roots, the condition is that b square minus 4ac. If b square minus 4ac is 0, then easily we can say that the roots are equal. So this is one nature. Is it clear to you? Okay. First of all, here b square minus 4ac, we have determined the nature by b square minus 4ac. Here b was a real number, c was a real number, and a was a real number. So ultimately b square minus 4ac itself a real number. That is, within square root we get here a real number. Is it clear? So b square minus 4ac, since this is a real number, so for any kind of number or for any number there are three possibilities. What? Either that number is 0, every real number, suppose this is the real line, if we draw a real line, this real line means suppose this is the position of 0, so a number either that will be 0 or greater than 0 or less than 0. So there are three possibilities. A number, suppose I have not declared the value of the number. Okay, so in general you can say that the number is either 0 or positive or negative, or positive means greater than 0 and or negative means less than 0. So we can determine the nature of any kind of nature. We can determine any kind of nature by the term b square minus 4ac. It will gives the nature of the roots. So just I told you that b square minus 4ac is a number, and this value b square minus 4ac, if this value is 0, then you get equal roots, and for this is a number, so this number will be either 0 or greater than 0 or less than 0. For 0 we get a conclusion. For greater than 0 we will get another conclusion, and for less than 0 we will get one more conclusion. Is it clear to you? Okay. So now look at the board. So you have to note down this part, that if b square minus 4ac equals to 0, then roots are equal. Is it clear to you? Next. So you get here, for equal roots, b square minus 4ac equals to 0. Next. Suppose b square minus 4ac. If b square minus 4ac, this is a real number basically. This must be a real number. Just I told you that a, b, c are real numbers. So this is a real number. Real number. Therefore, there are three cases. Either b square minus 4ac equals to 0, or b square minus 4ac greater than 0, or another one, b square minus 4ac less than 0. These three cases may occur. So if b square minus 4ac equals to 0, then we get equal root. Just we have checked. If greater than 0, then b square minus 4ac, if this is greater than 0, that means it can be any positive number. Okay, so if root over a positive number, then the root must be real. Is it clear to you? If within square root a positive number, that means root over 7, root over 3, root over 16, all are real numbers. Okay, so in this case we will get real and distinct, obviously. And for less than 0, this case, b square minus 4ac less than 0, that means in this place you will get a negative number. You will get a negative number. B square minus 4ac less than 0 means negative number. As I told in my last video, that if within square root you will get a negative number, that means root over minus 9, root over minus 5, root over of minus 7, any number within square root, if the number is negative, then it can be expressed into the form of p by q. And also it is impossible to find out the value of this, that what will be the value of square root of minus 9. Okay, so this I told in my last video. From this problem a new branch of mathematics have been started. The branch name is imaginary or complex number. Okay, so in this case, if within square root if you get a negative number, then that number must be a imaginary number. So if b square minus 4ac, this value is negative, then we get imaginary root. Imaginary. Understood? So for greater than 0, you will get real or distinct. Now look at the board, that roots are real. If roots are real, then we have to discuss two parts. One is rational, another is irrational. Okay, actually real number means, real number is a combination of a rational number and irrational number. This is the addition of rational and irrational. Addition means in the set of addition, that means union. Okay, in real number, whole real number, there is rational numbers and irrational numbers. Together with rational and irrational, we can say the set of real numbers. So in the real number, all collection of all real number, there are rational numbers and irrational numbers. Now we have to identify that if our roots are real, then that roots will be from rational or from irrational. Understood? So we get a rough idea that if b square minus 4ac is 0, then equal root. If b square minus 4ac greater than 0, then real and distinct. Obviously distinct it will be. And b square minus 4ac less than 0, then imaginary, and it will be again distinct also. Understood? Now we have to identify from this branch that the roots are roots are rational or irrational. Okay, so what is this? This is the b square minus 4ac greater than 0. That means the number which you will get in this position, that means suppose you have calculated b square minus 4ac a number 5, then 5 is clearly greater than 0, that means 5 is positive. Now how can you decide, or how can you identify, or how can you determine that for b square minus 4ac equals to 5 the roots will be rational or irrational? Okay, just try to remind my previous video. I have declared there that within square root or inside the square root, if a number is perfect square, then it will become a rational. Okay, as I told you in my last video. Okay, I am raising this part. I need the space. As I told in my last video that if within square root, in square root, a perfect square number, then this number must be a rational number. It must be then ultimate this number will be a rational number. How? I told you, if we consider root over 16, then 16 means this is a perfect square. Since 16 is perfect square, then you can find out the value of root over 16, and root over 16 will be 4, and 4 can be expressed as 4 by 1. Okay, so it is a rational number. And within square root, if the number is not perfect square, then this will give the hints for irrational number. Okay, so if b square minus 4 is greater than 0, then we can conclude up to the roots are real. After that, if that number is perfect square, then if perfect square, then you will get rational root, and if not perfect square, then irrational root. So for any kind of nature, you can identify or you can determine the nature of roots by the term b square minus 4ac. Okay, and this term b square minus 4ac is generally known as discriminant. What? Discriminant. This is called discriminant. I am writing here discriminant, and it is denoted by capital D. Capital D stands for discriminant. So what is discriminant? Discriminant means D equals to b square minus 4ac. This term is known as discriminant. Hope you understand all this thing and how to determine the nature of roots. So you have to memorize all these informations. Okay, I am writing in short this all information in a chart. Okay, I am writing, and just you clear all the concept. I am writing the chart for summaries. Is it clear? After that, I will solve some problems. Here, all the information in a chart. Okay, nature of roots of ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a not equals to 0. Basically, the first line is the general form of quadratic equation, that means standard form of quadratic equation. So to determine the nature of roots, I told you just before few minutes that all the nature you can check by discriminant. What is discriminant? The term b square minus 4ac is called discriminant. So since here a, b, c are real number, so after simplifying of this value b square minus 4ac, you will get obviously a real number. Okay, so a number has three possibilities, that the number is either 0 or greater than 0 or less than 0. Okay, so from these possibilities, the value of b square minus 4ac either 0 or less than 0 or greater than 0. Okay, so b square minus 4ac if equals to 0, then you get the roots are equal. I have written here. And why roots are equal I have discussed before few minutes. And b square minus 4ac if less than 0, then roots are imaginary and distinct. Okay, distinct obvious since plus and minus these two effect on this number. And if b square minus 4 is greater than 0, that means roots are real. Okay, and I told you that if this is the real number, suppose this is the whole zone of real, this is the real zone, then this zone is the combination of rational and irrational. Suppose this is rational part, this is rational part, and another is irrational. Okay, so b square minus 4 is greater than 0 gives that roots are real, that means roots are in this red zone. Okay, but if this value of b square minus 4ac is a perfect square, then easily we can say that if b square minus 4ac greater than 0 and a perfect square number, then roots are rational and distinct, that means roots must be rational, and if not perfect square, then irrational and distinct. This complete the nature of roots. Okay, so you have to memorize this thing, very easy. Okay, now I'll solve some problems. Okay, note down all this information. Next, I will discuss some example. I have considered here some example. That means these are the exercise problem from the book ICSE Mathematics by D.K. Bhattacharya. Okay, one series. Without solve, determine the nature of roots of the followings. Okay, of the following means this equation. Obviously, you can check already that these equations are quadratic equation. And for the quadratic equation, we have to check the nature of roots. We have to determine the nature of these given equations. Okay, I am solving the first one. Okay, so first one is a quadratic equation. So the nature of the roots you can determine by simplify the value of the discriminant. Okay, actually all total nature you can check by discriminant. So first check the discriminant. So d equals to what? So first you have to identify here a, b and c. A, b, c means you have to compare with the standard form of equation. What is standard form? Ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. If you check with the standard form, then what is the value of a? Okay, I am writing here in short. Okay, ax square plus bx plus c. Then what is the value of a here? So write down here solution of first one. Okay, here a equals to 4. In the place of a, 4 is there. In the place of b, minus 12 is there. B equals to minus 12 and c equals to 9. Okay, therefore d equals to b square minus 4ac. D for discriminant. So calculate it. We know that b square minus 4ac on the basis of depends on b square minus 4ac. We can determine the nature of roots. So b square minus 4ac equals to what? Put the values. B means minus 12 square minus 4. A means here 4 into c means 9. Okay. So equals to 12 square means 144 and minus square means it will become positive minus 36 into 4. 36 into 4 means 4 is 24. One 144. What? Okay. 4 into 4 into 9. Again itself 144. So this 144 minus 144 equals to 0. So discriminant value here 0. So what we conclude? What we can conclude from d equals to 0? Roots are obviously equal, as I told in my last video, and as I told before few minutes. Okay, hence roots are equal. Understood? Okay, next second problem. For the second problem, again identify the first, check what is A, what is B and what is C here. So first, for first video, so first problem done. Second problem, here A equals to what? A means coefficient of x square is 4. B means coefficient of x including sign minus 4 root 3. And C means the constant part 3. Now check discriminant D equals to B square minus 4AC equals to B means minus 4 root 3 whole square minus 4A means 4, C means 3. Now simplify it. Then minus square means positive, 4 square means 16. 16 into root 3 square means 3. So 16 into 3, 48. And it is also 48. Equals to 0. Hence for the second quadratic equation also having equal roots. Therefore roots are equal. This complete the second solution. This was the second one. Okay. Now third number problem. For third number problem, identify A, B and C. What is A? For third number problem, A means coefficient of x square, that means 1. B means coefficient of x, that means 1. C means also 1. So B square minus 4AC equals to B square means 1 square minus 4 into A means 1, C means 1 equals to 1 minus 4 equals to minus 3. That means minus 3 is negative, less than 0. So B square minus 4AC seems negative. So in the answer, that formula x equals to minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac by 2a. So in that formula you will get within the square root a negative number. So it will give imaginary roots. Okay. Hence roots are imaginary. Understood? Hence roots are imaginary and distinct. Okay, imaginary and distinct. So this is the solution of third problem. Third problem we have done. Next, fourth number. Sorry, equals to 0 will be there. Next, fourth number. Okay, for fourth number, here ABC equals to what? Here A means coefficient of x square. So here this is fourth number. Okay, A equals to coefficient of x square is 2. B means coefficient of x, no x related term is there. Okay, so here this can be written as 2x square plus 0 into x minus 3 equals to 0. This equation and this equation basically same. Why I expressed this equation into this form? So that we can easily identify A, B and C. So this is the standard form. So here A means 2, B means 0 and C means minus 3. Now check discriminant P D equals to B square minus 4AC equals to B means here 0, square means 0 itself, minus 4, A means here 2, C means here minus 3. So this is nothing but 4 to the 8, 24 I think. 24 plus 24. So this is greater than 0. So we get real and distinct. Now since this is real and distinct, so you have to check that is it perfect square. Since real and distinct, now you have to check more that it is rational root or irrational. Since d equals 24 and it is not perfect square, so greater than 0 and 24 is not a perfect square number. Perfect square number. So roots are what? Therefore roots are which kind of roots? If greater than 0 then real. If perfect square number, then within square root we will get perfect square. So within square root, if you get perfect square number, then we can find the value of that square root. Since it is not perfect square number, that means you will get square root of 24. If you put in that formula, then square root of 24 you are unable to find. Okay, so in this case we will get irrational root. Is it clear? And you can memorize that table also. Roots are irrational and distinct. Roots are irrational and distinct. Hope you understand. Without solve a quadratic equation, how can we check or how can we determine the nature of the roots? Okay. On the basis of this concept, we have to solve so many problems which are in your exercise book, in your book. Okay. In my next video, I will solve some examples and some problems from the exercise. Okay. So today's class is up to this. Hope you understand all these things, and
please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you get the notification of all updates.